So today we'll be getting into some stories on Alexa Bliss, The Hurt Business, Dominic Mysterio, and more. For today's question of the day, would you like to see The Hurt Business get back together? Let's start off with this story involving The Hurt Business. The Hurt Business was a faction that started back in the spring of 2020. It was the beginning of the pandemic era in WWE. There was a lot of uncertainty around WWE storylines and the overall product, with no live crowd being present. They tried several things during this era of having no fans, and one of the things that was created during this period was The Hurt Business. Bobby Lashley and Lana were still together, while MVP was fresh off his Royal Rumble return and scouting talent to manage. Eventually, MVP locked eyes with Bobby Lashley, convinced him to let go of Lana because she was holding him, and the rest was history. MVP promised Lashley that he'll make it to the top under his guidance and management. Then, in those months that followed, they would bring on Shelton Benjamin and then Cedric Alexander. It's an impressive stat and accomplishment as a faction. The Hurt Business held every title that was available for the men's division on Raw. They held the United States title, the tag team titles, and the WWE World titles. Nothing but complete dominance from this faction that was strictly about their business. But tragedy struck the group shortly after Bobby Lashley's WWE title win. The longtime faction was split up during the opening segment of Raw that week, and that was it for the Hurt Business. They went from strong and established to completely split up in about 3 minutes. And no one was exactly thrilled about that. Even in a new interview from a few days ago, Roman Reigns said that he too feels like the Hurt Business broke up extremely too soon. But Reigns did compliment WWE's decision, saying that Bobby Lashley looks more dominant on his own compared to when he was surrounded with a whole faction. So maybe Roman's point was WWE's mentality. They didn't want Lashley to be walking around with 3 other guys. They wanted him to just look dominant, standing alone with his manager, MVP, and no one else. MVP and Lashley have responded to the discussion of their faction breaking up too, saying that the Hurt Business technically isn't over, and they're still looking to bring in new members. But WWE superstar Big E wants to see the original Hurt Business reunite, because he feels like there's still a lot of story to tell there between the New Day and the Hurt Business. Bobby Lashley had a long feud with both Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods a few months back, but with Big E being over on SmackDown, he was unable to stand up for Kofi and Xavier. Big E had this to say when speaking with Sports Illustrated. "There is history with this story with Bobby, Kofi, and Woods, so it's all there. They would be our chance for retribution, and it just feels right. I love the Hurt Business. I love seeing what they were able to do, and the fact that their whole Hurt Business era wasn't in front of fans. It was in front of the Thunderdome. That's incredible. Maybe there's a possibility they can put aside whatever squabbles they have and get back together again. Then you'd have so many options and possibilities with the New Day and the Hurt Business, even 6-mans. Bobby is on his best run yet. He carries himself like a champion. He looks like a champion. When I first got signed by WWE in 2009, I remember watching a match with him and Cena over and over again. He was someone I wanted to work like someday, so it's an honor to have Bobby speak of us like that. He's on an incredible run, and there is definitely a lot of meat there to chew on." So Big E just came up with a genius idea there. It's also the reason why lots of fans think Big E will cash in on Bobby Lashley. There's just so much history there between the New Day and Bobby Lashley. It'll be the perfect revenge story if Big E cashed in on Lashley and got that retribution against him for what he did to Kofi and Xavier. Or even better, like he said, get the Hurt Business back together to face the New Day 3-on-3. The Hurt Business is one of the most dominant factions of all time, but the live WWE fans never got the opportunity to see them together in the ring. So, who knows if we could see a reunion story one day for a feud with a group like the New Day. SmackDown is loaded with a lot of great stories right now, from Baron Corbin, Becky Lynch, Naomi, The Bloodline, and so much more. But it appears that another story could be underway on SmackDown between Rey Mysterio and Dominic. Rey and Dominic lost the tag titles to Jimmy and Jay, and things are starting to get shaky for them. We saw Rey Mysterio tell Dominic backstage that he was going to let him go out by himself to the ring tonight for him to shine on his own. But when Sami started to take control of the match, Rey Mysterio came storming out to be at ringside for Dominic. Dominic would go on to lose the match and was extremely frustrated with his father after the match. It appeared that Dominic wasn't just frustrated with the loss itself, it also seems like he was a bit upset with the fact that Rey Mysterio came out, even when he told Dominic he wouldn't. That seems to be one of the other big issues here for Dominic. Maybe he does want to get out of that shadow of being known as Rey Mysterio's son. He wants to just go out by himself and make a name for himself on his own. So, is this the end for Dominic and Rey Mysterio? Will they be able to work out what Dominic is going through, or will this lead to Dominic going off on his own? Have to remember that this is a father-son tag team after all, so their connection and bond obviously has to be stronger than any other ordinary tag team. So we're to assume that Rey and Dominic will work things out, but this is WWE after all, so stories do have to evolve and change. Something like Rey Mysterio beating Dominic down does seem pretty ridiculous and extremely out of character for Rey. Plus, what kind of father would even do that? So that's off the table. But if Dominic is the aggressor here and shoved Rey down or something like that, maybe it will work. But of course, it will be seen as a massive heel turn for Dominic. Not only is that a beloved babyface legend, that's also his father he's turning on. So that will really get everyone to turn on Dominic. So it'll be interesting to see what route they go down there, but something definitely seems to be brewing between the father and son duo. Alexa Bliss recently spoke with E.T. and addressed the acting rumors and if that's in her future after her WWE departure. She had this to say and revealed when asked about an acting career. WWE will always be home. That's always where I'll be. But I would love to see what happens if I go for acting. I've been working with an acting coach for the last 10 months. Everything I'm doing right now, character-based wise, is a lot of acting, and it's a lot of fun. But I would love to try that one day if the cards allow. That would definitely be a passion of mine. But for now, WWE's home. This doesn't really come off as a surprise at all. Alexa Bliss is easily one of the most gifted overall actors in WWE. There's been a lot of segments between superstars over the last few years that went viral and was made fun of because of the horrible acting and deliverance. But with Alexa Bliss, her segments always went viral because of her outstanding acting and deliverance, especially over the last year, where she's become extremely character-driven. So there's just been so many great acting performances from Alexa Bliss within the WWE. Such as the gasoline segment with Randy Orton in late December 2020. Alexa is emotional, on the verge of crying, and begs for Randy Orton to do the same thing to her that he did to The Fiend. That segment alone there was intense and was amazing acting from both superstars involved. Alexa did reveal one of her secrets there as well. She has been working with an acting coach for nearly a year now, so her performances are only going to get better and better. And even though the WWE is her home, she did confirm that she will be in fact interested in pursuing an acting career. So, can't wait to see what acting roles start lining up for Alexa Bliss. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.